Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Diving Deeper with Pastor Dave. Pastor Dave, good to have you back.
Good to be back, Ernie.
And we're just hurtling through January. We're getting to the end of January already, so it'll be Christmas time again before we know it.
Don't say that. That terrifies me.
As we get closer to the end of January, we did wrap up the Happiness series, and we talked about community, or you talked about community in your sermon today. And so one of the things that I thought of that kind of applied to me, specifically in my ministry, is how do we foster a community online with our online congregation? Obviously, it's a huge and grows larger every week. And so how do we do a good job of fostering community amongst those viewers?
I think that's such an interesting question for us. We've been intentional about trying to cultivate this ministry. We want to reach people. We're grateful for all of you who share in this ministry with us and are a part of our online congregation and watching us. We really value the connection we can have with you all. And I would say, first of all, we would welcome any thoughts any of you have about how we can build online community and help that relationship to be real, to be tangible. I think we have to be creative about that,
Sure.
but we don't want it to be one way. You know, we love to hear from people. We love to hear people's comments. We love to hear people's questions. I think those are good starting places for us. I think we're very open to doing some experimental and additional ways of sharing together, whether that's
Absolutely.
Through maybe some webinars we do or some Zoom meetings, although most people are probably still Zoomed out after the pandemic, but some ways that we can be in touch with each other and share conversation. I would just love to share more conversation about some of these personal and spiritual topics that really impact our life and our faith and help us to both ask important questions and to offer our insights together and let God speak to us through that.
Those are great suggestions, and I agree. We definitely welcome the feedback. As I say, usually at the end of every Diving Deeper, to leave a comment below so we can check in with you and let us know what you're interested in seeing. We're here to serve you, both Pastor Dave and myself, and helping you to feel more a part of the Lakeview family at large. And so one of the other thoughts I had in listening to the sermon was kind of scaling out to everybody, not just the online viewer. But it seems today there is a focus or a growing, I guess you could say even rampant, drive towards individualism, where it's very easy to just be heads down, do your own thing, stay in your lane, and not really connect. And I guess since you did such a nice job of touching on how community helps and builds and fosters not only our own happiness, but collective happiness, what would you say is the key to kind of combating that, on a daily basis?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. It is pervasive. I think the individualism in our culture just cuts through every level, and we get that in lots of messages. The messages that say it's all about you, But the reality, no, the life of faith is about us together, and so many of us are lonely. We feel isolated.
Sure.
If you're working from home, that adds a layer of isolation. We value our time online with our social media because that's how we connect with people. But it can also hit us that, we're very much by ourselves. And sometimes, we may worry like, will anybody miss me if I'm not responding to things or posting things or showing up in church? I mean, that question sometimes is in the back of my mind. And I'm the pastor. I go, will they miss me? And we all want to think, I would hope I would be missed and I would matter to someone.
Sure.
But it's really pushing through that individualism. And I think it also runs deeply through our political life and all of the ways we are divided that keep us separate from one another. And so humans are really good at separating themselves from others, even though I think in our hearts we're longing for places of deeper connection. It's in our relationships where we are most known, where we realize we are valued, that and where we feel understood. And I think most of us want to be known and understood by others, maybe not by the masses, but if we all have a few places where we feel like I can connect deeply, that to me always feels life-giving. I was talking last week with a college roommate who we touch base like every year, I mean, sometimes it goes quite a long time, but it's one of those rare relationships where we can pick up right where we left off. And after my father's recent death, my roommate had known my parents, had come home with me a number of times, remembered him fondly. I felt filled up again when I was talking with him about my dad, the things we remembered and valued about him. And I left that conversation not feeling quite so alone in my grief. I felt like I connected with somebody who understood what I was going through and understood that because they had known my father as well.
Right.
I treasure that conversation. That meant a great deal to me.
That's awesome. That's a great example of, I think, kind of that mantra that's out there of, finding your people.
Yes.
And I
yes.
think that can lead to, again, tying it into everything, your happiness in life. Like you
Yes.
said, you might not be someone for everyone,
Right.
but there are people out there, and that's what we're keen on here at Lakeview as well, is for helping people finding their people within the larger community. We want you to
Absolutely.
find your place here. And I think, stepping back as we're at the end of this happiness series, I think you've given us all a great set of tools. Even Yvonne last week
Yes.
also gave us a great set of tools to start 2023 out on a note of happiness, hopefully. And like I said, we'd love to hear from you down below in the comment section. Let us know if anything that Pastor Dave, I should say, has shared with you has helped in achieving some happiness or getting your mindset to where you think you can achieve that happiness. And if you have any other comments, let us know down below. Like I said, especially this year, we are engaging with you to help you take those next steps. So we definitely want to hear from you. That said, Pastor Dave, thanks again for joining me, and we will see you all next week.